Hi, everybody. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. Uh, we are going to start Unit 3. Uh, I hope there is no question about previous pages. In case of any question, you can ask when we meet after Nowruz. Uh, Page 22, 3.1, Ethical Man. Let's go to the book. Ethical Man. Ethical man is a man who follows ethical principles, moral principles in his life. Uh, let's see how we are going to follow these kind of principles in our lives. The environment. All of us know that there are some dangers uh, threatening our environment, and we have to do something in order to tackle the problems, environmental problems. One of the biggest environmental problems that we can think of is global warming, is the plastic wastes, or for example, the ozone layer, which allows the dangerous rays of sun enter the atmosphere, and so on and so forth. There have been some measures taken by the experts, but it seems not enough. What do you think can be done in order to solve the problem, solve the environmental problems? Let's go on and see what we have in our unit about these kind of problems. Work in pairs and discuss how important is green living to you. What's green living? The living which is green is environmentally friendly. A green life uh, protects the environment, protects the nature, doesn't allow people to litter around, to leave the garbage in the nature, tries to organize and manage the consumption, water consumption, I don't know, electricity consumption, gas consumption, anything. This is green living. Do you live a green living? Look at the sentences below and try to explain the meaning of the words or phrases in bold. Then use a dictionary to check. Number 1. How much of the food you buy is pre-prepared or processed? How much is organic? So, organic food is a food that directly comes from nature. But pre-prepared or processed food is a food which is made in the factory, uh, such as, for example, uh, some salads, for example, spaghetti, some sausages, which are processed and pre-prepared in factories. But organic food, for example, vegetarian food, is organic. I leave the questions to be answered by you. Okay. Then you can discuss with your friends in the classes after the off days. 2. How much of the food you eat is produced in the country you live in? How much of the food we have is not imported to the country, is produced inside our country? Uh, how is your home heated? Do you use energy saving light bulbs? Uh, Energy saving light bulbs are those light bulbs which use uh, low amount of energy, low amount of electricity. Um, Such as fluorescent lamps. 4. Is your house insulated or or double paned? Insulated house is a house which uses some materials, some substances in order to cover and protect the house. For example, pipes. For example, pipes. For example, the small distance between the walls of other houses. They are filled with some substances in order to protect the house from heat, uh, from cold weather, to go and come to the house. And double pane, usually the glasses are double pane. The windows have double pane, they or double glazing windows. There are two glasses which prevent the noise or hot or cold weather to go out or to come in. Do you turn lights or machines off or leave them on standby? Sometimes when you finish your work with the computer, you don't turn it off. You leave it on a standby or sleep, uh, in which it uses electricity. Or for example, when we finish watching movie or watching the TV, we don't turn it off. We just leave it on, and it consumes energy. It consumes electricity. When you are buying a product, do you consider how to recycle the packaging? Packaging is anything that wraps the product. For example, when you buy, for example, a bag of spaghetti, the bag is usually plastic or nylon. Uh, it cannot be recycled, or those packagings that are made of paper can easily be recycled. Do you regard this recycling the packaging when you buy something? How often do you buy, sell, or give away second-hand items? Uh, we know buy, sell. What is giving away? When you give away something, you donate it to poor people. You give it to people who need it. So, how often do you buy, sell, or give away second-hand items or used items? The items that you have used for some time, and because you don't need, you give it away or sell somebody. Or sometimes you need to buy these kind of products. How much of your garbage is recycled? Here, by recycling, it means, uh, let's say, discriminating and uh, dividing the garbage into some uh, categories, into some groups. For example, glass. For example, paper. Wet garbages. Do you do this in your home? Number 9. How many hours on average do you spend flying a year? How many hours on average do you spend flying a year using airplane to go around the world or country? And 10, how often do you use a car? So try to think about the questions and come up with your answers to the questions. Let's go to page 43. Here it is. The environment. Now, the picture shows how our environment gets polluted. Complete the text with words or phrases from the box with the same meaning as the words or phrases in parentheses. The words are global warming, pollution, protect, car exhaust fumes, industrial waste, factory smoke, natural resources, destroys the environment, destruction of the rainforest, environmentally friendly, harmful, and cans. Aerosol cans. Okay. In order to do such exercises, we need to read the whole text without trying to fill in the blanks in order to get the main idea. Once you finished, you go to the words and try to find the most suitable word for the blank. In this case, the meaning of what is going to be written in the blanks is provided in the parentheses. For example, um, many people are worried about the state of the planet and the effects of. So, what is going to be written in blank number 1 meant an increase in world temperatures caused by any increase in carbon dioxide around the Earth. So this is the meaning of global warming. Let's move on. A growing human population is putting pressure on the Earth's. The meaning is things that exist in nature and can be used by people, for example, oil, trees, etc. So among the words here, we think that natural resources matches what is given in the parentheses. So a growing human population is putting pressure on the Earth's natural resources, like food and water. Also, a lot of human activity causes damage. Something that causes damage is harmful. So, also a lot of human activity is harmful. either because it causes dirty air, water, or land. How about pollution? So, either because it causes pollution or because we need three-word phrase. Because we have the subject, it means that our phrase should start with a verb, with a verb, with a verb, with a verb. Yeah, destroys the environment. Good. Or because it destroys the environment, which means damages the air, water, and land so badly. Even if we didn't have the meaning, we could understand by guessing type of word we have to put in the blank. Some of the most common causes of damage are chemicals and unwanted materials which factories throw away. So factories, industrial waste. Number 6, industrial waste. Number 7, factory smoke. Number 8, three-word, car exhaust fumes. And number 8, which contains CFCs, a chemical which damages ozone layer. So they are aerosol cans. All right. And aerosol cans, number 10, which increases the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So, and destruction of the rainforest. These are the common causes of damage on Earth. So number 10 was destruction of the rainforests. Environmentalists try to the environment, keep it safe. So I think it is protect. We had it, yeah. Environmentalists try to protect the environment by encouraging people to change the way they live. Recycling more, using what? Using environmentally friendly or green products which do not damage the environment, wasting less, and etc. And persuading governments to take environmental issues more seriously. Very good. Part B, complete the table with words from the text in exercise 1A. It is a verb and noun table. Verb is destroy, noun, we had it in the text. Destruction, very good. Protection is noun, verb is protect. Pollute is verb, noun must be pollution. Damages, verb, noun, without any change is damage. Waste is noun, waste is verb. Good. Thank you. Let's go back to page 22. So, there is a reading. Justin Rowlatz, a BBC journalist, decided to try living a greener lifestyle for a year. What changes do you think he made? So let's imagine if you want to live a green life. So you may quit using cars. You may quit buying pre-prepared foods. You will get your food from the nature. You will be kinder to the animals. Um, you will do recycling, and so on. Read the article to find out. Let's read and find out what Justin has done. 1. Hi. So Justin is the ethical man we are going to read about. So in this case, ethical means to follow the environmental principles. No. Hi, I'm Justin Rowlatt, and I'm at the BBC's ethical man. So, what does living ethically mean? Giving up the car, recycling wine bottles, not using plastic bags? I spent a year trying to find out. 2. I want to be clear about one thing right from the start. I want to be clear means I want to have a clear mind, a clear idea about one thing exactly from the start, from the scratch. It wasn't my idea to become the BBC's ethical man. I had just started working for the BBC, and on my first day, the editor asked me to come into his office. 3. What did I think about the idea of a journalist trying to live as ethical a lifestyle as possible for a year? He wanted to know. He asked me if I liked the idea. What did I think? It was my first day. I said I thought it was a great idea. That's why my family, B, my wife, 35, and daughters Eva, 5, and Zola, 4, and I agreed to spend a year doing everything we could to try to reduce our impact on the environment. So impact means effects, usually negative effects. Uh, we changed the light bulbs in our house to energy saving bulbs. We changed the way we heat and power our home. We stopped flying and we got rid of the car. Got rid of the car, we stopped using car. Instead, we walked, used bicycles, or took public transportation. We did our supermarket shopping online instead of saving time and energy to go to the market. Ate organic vegetables, and I even stopped eating meat for a month. My heavily pregnant wife, pregnant woman uh, waits for a baby, is going to give birth to a baby. My heavily pregnant wife, B, walked 2 miles to hospital in the middle of the night to give birth to our third daughter, Elsa. When we went on vacation to France, instead of choosing a 2-hour flight, we went on a nightmarish 12-hour trip on the train in a heat wave. They could travel by airplane in 2 hours, but they chose to uh, travel on a train. It was nightmarish. Nightmarish means it was so terrible, as terrible as a nightmare. It took 12 hours. in a heat wave. A heat wave is a period of hot weather. You know, those 12 hours they spent on the train was really hot. Opposite of heat wave is cold spell. Cold spell. Opposite of heat wave. A period of cold weather. So, 5. You expect to face challenges as a journalist. Many of my colleagues regularly report from war zones. Others have just minutes to prepare before they are expected to give a clear explanation of complex economic data. Some have to work with criminal gangs, but few journalists have faced the sorts of challenges I have during my year of living ethically. All right. As a journalist, every day you have to expect to face some challenges, some dangers. For example, many of my colleagues, my coworkers, my fellow journalists, regularly report from war zones, from the areas in which there was a battle, or from battlefields. Others have just minutes to prepare before they are expected to give a clear explanation of complex economic data. So they have to prepare this complex and complicated economic information uh, in few minutes, which is a big challenge actually. Some have to work with criminal gangs, criminal groups, gangsters. But few journalists have faced the sorts of challenges I have during my year of living ethically. 6. It has been a tough year, a difficult, a challenging year. I put my family through hell. I put my family through hell means I uh, caused my family to tolerate a very bad condition. And there were many fights and arguments, you know, between the members of the family. But the overall result, how about the overall result? Uh, the general result, we managed to reduce our carbon footprint by 37%. Carbon footprints means, footprint is what is left when you are walking. So carbon footprint means when you are spending the energy, consuming the energy, carbon is produced. So you leave carbon dioxide in the nature when you are consuming energy. Uh, this family reduced uh, producing carbon dioxide by 37%, nearly double the total we had hoped to achieve a year ago. So uh, mathematically, they hope to achieve half of this percentage uh, when they started this kind of lifestyle. 7. Being forced to go green has shown me that anyone can achieve more than we think. Go green means start living environmentally friendly. However, I believe most people are too busy to go through all this without being compelled. Compelled means without being forced. Uh, Uh, as I was, it means he was compelled. If you remember, it was his first day at work, and his boss called him in and asked him to do this mission. So he was compelled to change his lifestyle, to give it a go. I believe most people are too busy to go through all this without being compelled to give it a go. To give it a go means to start it, to experience it. Having said that, after I said that, we don't regret doing it. Now, although they were compelled, although they had to do this because his boss had asked them to, uh, they don't regret doing it. We aren't planning to get the car back, and many of the other changes will remain too. So they liked this kind of lifestyle. Okay? So we found out what changes Justin made in his life to live greenly. He stopped using car. Uh, they had organic food. They changed powering his home and heating his home. He used energy saving light bulbs and so on. Why did Justin? So let's go to part 2C. Work in pairs and answer the questions 1 to 6 below. Let's see if I remember the answers from the text. 1. Why did Justin decide to try living ethically for a year? As far as I remember, it was his first day in BBC, and his boss called him in his office and asked him to start this lifestyle. 2. Did he and his family enjoy the experience? What do you think? Did they enjoy? I don't think so. There were a lot of fights and arguments. His pregnant wife had to walk 2 miles to hospital in the middle of the night. So it's not enjoyable, is it? So not at all. Number 3, what kinds of things did they try to change? We talked about it. The way they travel, instead of traveling by plane, they traveled on the train. Instead of cars, he used bicycles, and he stopped eating meat, and so on. What kinds of challenges does Justin say that other journalists have to face? Some of them have to give regular reports from war zones. Some of them have very few time to prepare a report about complicated economic data. Some of them have to work with criminal gangs. This. Number 5. Did Justin and his family manage to reduce their impact on the environment? Of course, they tried to, after a year, their carbon footprint was reduced by 37%. Number 6, did the experiment change the way that they have decided to live? For sure. They decided to maintain and keep some of the changes they had made in their lives. So, do you think the ethical man experiment is a good idea? Why not? Personally, I think it's a good idea. You know, it's so good to try to reduce our impact on the nature, because we need the nature. Not only we, but also our next generations need the nature, so we have to preserve it for the other generations too. Then definitely it's a good idea, but you know, it has got its own difficulties. We need to tolerate. We need to go through very difficult experiences. You know, no car, no airplane, no meat. No, for me it's so difficult to stop eating meat actually. So it has got its own difficulties, but by and large, it will be a beneficial experience, an experiment for the nature and environment. Good. Page 23, part 3. Read the article again. Underline words or phrases in the text that match meanings 1 to 6. What's number 1? The amount of damage we do by our actions to the air, water, and land on Earth. In paragraph 4. In paragraph 4, we have to try to reduce our impact on the environment. Our impact on the environment is what is meant by the amount of damage we do. 2. Threw away or destroyed. Threw away or destroyed. In paragraph 4. In paragraph 4, get rid of. You know, get rid of cars means we they threw away using cars. They stopped using cars. Number 3, terrible, like a bad dream. Yeah, you're right, nightmarish. For a period of very hot weather, as you remember, we talked about it, heat wave. Number 5, made my family go through a bad experience. Paragraph 6, I put my family through hell. And number 6, be forced to do something. Being compelled. All right. The grammar, reported speech. As far as I remember, you have studied about reported speech, how to report the speeches when you were in P levels. I suppose it was P4. We are going to have more details here. Okay. Let's do this exercise, then we will go through the principles and structures in more details. Complete the table to show how tenses change in reported speech. As you know, one of the most important changes we make when we are reporting the sentences or speech is a change in tenses. So, number one, we are going to change the reported speech to direct speech. Reported speech says, he said they weren't planning to get the car back. So, as we know, when we are reporting the speech, we take the tense, one tense back. If it is am, it should be was when we are reporting. So, since this is reported speech and the verb is weren't planning, it means that we should take one tense forward. So we, instead of were, we should say we are planning. We are planning to get the car back. He said many of the other changes would remain. Would is one tense back of. Good, will. Many of other changes will remain. Will remain. Number one, sorry, it was we aren't planning to get. I think I said we are planning. Yeah. Number three, he said that his wife had walked to hospital. He said that his wife had walked to hospital. Had walked is past perfect. One tense forward, past simple. My heavily pregnant wife, B, walked 2 miles to hospital. Direct speech is, I think it's a great idea. He said he, so past form of think, we are going to take one tense back. It is reporting. He said he thought it was a great idea. See, is has changed to was, and think should change to thought. Number 5. He said it had been a tough year. He directly said it has been a tough year. We are at the end of the year. We are talking about the whole year. The year hasn't finished yet. So we use present perfect. It has been a tough year. One tense back of present perfect is also past perfect. I just started working for the BBC. Reported speech of the sentence is, he said he had just started working for the BBC. I have just started working for the BBC. Because of just, we know that, we find out that it is present perfect. Do you like the idea? He asked me if I liked the idea. As you see, the last one is a question. Do you like the idea? What kind of question is it? Right, it's a yes-no question. When you are reporting a yes-no question, you see there is if. Instead of do, we have if. He asked me if I liked the idea. So let's go to the grammar bank and talk about the details there. So in order to come up with a reported speech, a reported form of a sentence, we need to make some changes, as you know. So, one of them is the change in the verb tense. If it is present, it changes to past. If it is present continuous, it changes to past continuous. If it is past, it changes to past perfect. If it is present perfect, it changes to past perfect. If it is future with will changes to would. If it is a future with is going to, it changes to was going to. If we are using modal verbs like might, like must, like could in our direct speech, we report them without making any change in the modal verbs. So, as you see in this table, we might be late. They said they might be late. So, might doesn't change. I must leave at midday. He said he had to leave at midday. Must changes to had to when it is positive. If it is negative, it doesn't change. We never change mustn't to didn't have to. It is, because the meaning changes. It's the same with should. We don't change should to past form. Uh, the main reporting verbs are uh, the main reporting verbs are say, tell, ask. Okay, say, tell, and ask. How do we use say? As you know, for example, he said, that is always optional. You can put or omit it. He said, uh, he he said he was a teacher. He said he was a teacher. But he told me that. He told me that he was a teacher. As you see, after said, there is no object pronoun. But after told, there must be an object pronoun. So be careful about this usage. Ask is used when we want to report a question or a request. For example, uh, my mom asked me to buy some bread. This is reported form of please buy some bread. Please buy some bread. Let me get rid of this and have it here. Okay, it's better. So, my mom asked me to buy some bread. This is a reported form of please buy some bread. You can take it as a request or as an order. So orders and requests are reported by adding to. Okay, then in this case there is no change of the tense. Buy is buy because we put it after to, and if a word comes after to, the tense doesn't change. It is a simple form of the verb. My mom asked me to buy some bread. Or we use ask when we want to report questions. The teacher asked asked us if we had done homework. So the teacher asked us if we had done our homework. If you remember, we mentioned before when we want to report yes, no questions, we use do. This is a reported form of have you done your homework? Have you done your homework? The teacher asked us if we had done. You know, when we are reporting, we change the question into a statement. You know, we treat the sentence like a statement. It's not a question anymore. That's why we don't put a question mark at the end of the sentence. All right. Now, if you see here, we had done our homework is not a question. It is a statement. Instead of, you know, auxiliary, we put if here. So the verb asked, reporting verb ask, is used when we want to have a request or we want to report a request or report a question. It doesn't matter our question is a yes no question or WH questions. So sometimes we don't change the verb tense. You know, for example, the weather broadcaster said it will snow tomorrow. It will snow tomorrow. If this piece of information is still true in the present time, we don't need to change the verb tense. You know, The weather forecaster said it today, so it's not tomorrow yet. That's why our information is still true. But if we want to report the same piece of information the day after tomorrow, we had to change it. We had to change will to would and tomorrow to the next day. All right. One of the things that change when we are reporting is uh, the time expression, such as tomorrow changes to next day or the next day, sorry, tomorrow, the next day. Even if in our direct speech we have next day, it should change to the next day. If it is now, it should change to then. If it is yesterday, it will change to the day before or the previous day. If it is last week, it will change to the week before or the previous week. If it is, for example, next year, it will change to the next year. Also, we change the place expression, like here changes to there. Here changes to there. Sometimes this changes to that. These, those. All right. Let's see how we report questions as we talked about it, but how about what we said about question was about yes no questions. How about WH questions? For example, where do you where do you live? Where do you live? It changes to he asked me. So we repeat the question word where we change the pronoun you is I or we. Live. In this question, in this case, we can keep the verb tense because the place we live doesn't change. Or we can consider the fact that a person who asked this question wanted to know at that time where we live. So we can also change the verb tense to past. He asked me where I lived or where we lived. So the question word is kept. We don't change it. We change the word order. The auxiliary verb is cancelled, is omitted, and we change the verb tense. About yes/no questions, we can also use whether instead of if in formal situations. Uh, will you accept to will you accept to set free the prisoners? It's a question. For example, senior prisoner asked the commander. The senior prisoner asked the commander whether, which means if whether he would set free the prisoners. Okay. The senior prisoner asked the commander whether or if he would set free the prisoners. Whether is used instead of if, with no difference and change in meaning. It is the same. The only difference it has is with the register of the word. Whether is more formal than if. Okay. I think there is nothing left. Usually the questions about do you like doing, do you like do you like, for example, skydiving? Do you like skydiving? My trainer asked me, because it is my general interest, it doesn't change through time that easily, so we keep the verb tense because it is related to my general interest. My trainer asked me if or whether I like skydiving. This I should be this. My trainer asked me if I like skydiving. So when it is about my general interest, we don't change the tense when we are reporting. All right. Let's get back to page 23. 23. Look at the table again and underline the correct alternative to complete rules. Okay, so let's complete the rules. When we report a speech, we often move the tenses back shift, forwards. For example, present simple to past simple. So it is, we change the we move the tenses back or back shift, such as present simple changes to past simple, present continuous changes to past continuous, present perfect changes to past perfect, will to would. Number 2, if what the person says is still true, We can keep the tenses the same or change the tense to a future form. We keep the tenses the same. For example, water boils at 100 degree Celsius. She said water boils. It doesn't change. 3. In reported speech, we may also need to change names and places, pronouns and time references, so which we never change the names. We only change pronouns and time references and place references such as here to there. For example, I'll see you tomorrow. He said he would see her the next day. In number 4, in reported questions, the word order is the same as or different from statements. It is the same as statements, it's not question anymore. So, page 36, language bank. Let's do some of them and let the others be done by you. So, page 37, complete the reported statements using tense changes. I have to go back there again. So, complete the reported statements using tense changes. Backshift. 1. We are going to have a baby. He said they were going to have a baby. 2. I've lived here for more than 20 years. She said that she had lived here changes to there for more than 20 years. Let's do number 5. I've lost my passport. She said that she had lost her passport. How about number 8? I can't stay long because I have to go to a meeting. She said that she couldn't stay long because she had to changes to had to go to a meeting. Good. Part 2. Using the words in italics, rewrite the sentences as reported speech. I think that La Tasca's is my favorite restaurant. She said that she thought that La Tasca's was her favorite restaurant. 2. I'm going to meet Mr. Suzuki this afternoon. He told me that he was going to meet Mr. Suzuki that afternoon. This afternoon changes to that afternoon. 3. Maja called me yesterday. He said that Maja called him. Yesterday changes to the previous day or the day before. Let's do number 6. I might see you at the party, Matt. She told Matt she might see him at the party. Number 8. I can't type very fast. She told her boss that she couldn't type very fast. We can also say she can't type very fast because this inability is general for the speaker. Okay, let's get back to page 23 and do the practice. Five A, complete the sentences by adding one word. I'll see you in my office. Editor to Justin. He said he would see Justin in his office. Number 2. I've got a new job. Justin to his wife. I've got a new job. He said we can't say had gotten because I've got means have. I've got is the same as have. And one tense back of have is had. So he said he had a new job. Number 3. We are going to try and live a more ethical lifestyle. They said that they were going to try and live a more ethical lifestyle. Number 4. I'm going to take a taxi to hospital. B to Justin. She said she was going to take a taxi to hospital. Number 5. We are hot. Children to parents. The children said they were hot. Number 6. We've achieved a lot. Justin and B. They said they had achieved a lot. 7. I didn't eat meat for a month. Justin said. Justin said he hadn't eaten meat for a month. 8. I'd expected to face challenges as a journalist. Justin said. He said so it is had expected. There is no tense before past perfect, so we keep it. He said he had expected to face challenges as a journalist. Let's listen to check the answers. 3.1.
Unit 3. World. 3.1. Listen to check your answers. Listen again and shadow the sentences.
1. He said he would see Justin in his office. 2. He said he had a new job. 3. They said that they were going to try and live a more ethical lifestyle. 4. She said she was going to take a taxi to the hospital. 5. The children said they were hot. 6. They said they had achieved a lot. 7. Justin said he hadn't eaten meat for a month. 8. He said he had expected to face challenges as a journalist.
All right. Let's move on to page 24. Reading. Working groups talk about the changes we can make in our ways of life in order to be more eco-friendly. Eco is the same as nature or environment, environment friendly. How can technology help make the environmental problems less severe? Take notes of the things to be done and then compare with other groups. Okay, so what do you think? Do you think we can live more eco-friendly? I think, yeah, what we discussed before about what that ethical man did. Uh, if we do, we will be more eco-friendly, environment friendly. We can uh, reduce our energy consumptions. We can uh, use, for example, bicycle instead of cars. We can reduce our industrial wastes in order to preserve the nature. But how about technology? How technology can help us protect the environment? Let's see how. Look at the photos of the modern buildings on page 47 and talk about the differences they have with the traditional ones. Page 47. Page 47. So here. Uh, as we see in the photos, there are some greenhouses, and they are growing some vegetables and plants, different plants in their houses. So it means they are using organic products, and it is so green around. There is no car, and inside the houses there are also some planting things. Uh, they are so different from our traditional houses. I don't know. Let's get back to page 24. Page 24. Page 24. Yeah. Work individually, part 7a. Work individually, match the words with their meanings. Then check your answers with your partner. I'm reading the words first. 1. Transform, transform. 2. Strategic, strategic. No, it is adjective form of strategy. Strategy, but strategic. 3. Guzzler, guzzler. 4. Intentional, intentional. 5. Mitigate, mitigate. 6. Resiliency. Resiliency. It is noun form of resilient. 7. Cluster. Cluster. 8. Encircle. Encircle. 9. Off-grid. Off-grid. 10. Bone dry. Bone dry. So, let's read the meanings and match them with the words. A. Make a situation less unpleasant. Make a situation less unpleasant. Among the words we have, number 5 is the best word matching with this meaning. Mitigate. Mitigate or weaken, weaken, make weak or less pleasant. B. Completely dry. As you may guess, bone dry means completely dry. C. Surround someone or something completely. Surround someone or something completely. So it is 8. Encircle. Encircle. So D. A group of things of the same kind or very close together. A group of things of the same kind, very close together. It is cluster. Cluster. A cluster of grapes, for example. A cluster of grapes. Done as part of a plan. Done as part of a plan. Now, something which is done as part of a plan is strategic. It is a part of a strategy. Not using the normal electricity, gas, or water supply. Not using the normal electricity, gas, or water supply. It is off-grid. 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 We have off-grid homes. The homes that don't use normal gas, water, and electricity supply. They make it, itself. That the house, this kind of house, generates the energy by itself. It is a self-sufficient home. Toughness. Toughness is resiliency. Resiliency. H. Completely change the appearance, form. Completely change the appearance or form. So as you can guess, it is transform. A device that uses a lot of fuel or energy. A device that uses a lot of fuel or energy is guzzler. Guzzler. For example, a guzzler car. This car is a guzzler. J. Done deliberately and usually intended to cause harm. Deliberately means intentionally, on purpose. J is intentional.